Welcome to the Qigong course. I guess I'm not starting yet, so I don't need to get so far away. So I'm going to run you through a sequence that is very similar to how I learned the basics of Qigong. Qi means energy, similar to prana in yoga. Gong means cultivation. So or practice. It's an energy cultivation practice. Very similar to pranayama in yoga, but also this incorporates not just moving of the breath and the energy internally, which is its primary function, but it also does involve movement of the body, the postures of the body, just as you would see in yoga. Asana is one of the 8 limbs, referring to postures and movement of the body, position of the body, because for many reasons we want to have a fully functional body, right? We want to be able to move through space with ease and grace, and we want to be pain-free and function at a level that allows us to do any of the things that we want to do in life, whether it's hiking or working for a laborious job where we're using our body, whatever the case. Even if you're at a desk job and you have posture issues from sitting down a lot, then movement's also equally as important as if you have a stressful job and you're beating your body up. We want to make sure we take the body through full range of motion, all the joints through a full range of motion, and that we have competent function of our body in all the major movement patterns. And so this is an opportunity for us to practice moving the body and going through full ranges of motion with control, and even in some cases strengthening the body if we're doing more rigorous poses. But the primary intent with a yoga practice or a qigong practice or an energy practice in general is moving the energy. And so we'll use these postures to optimize the function of the body, but also put us in positions that allow for the energy to move optimally through the body. And in traditional Chinese medicine, you will hear these channels in Qigong called meridians. These are just energy channels in the body, and that's like what they use in acupuncture when they put the needles in. In yoga, they're called nadis, nadis being these energy centers or energy channels, subtle energy centers in the body. And so with this Qigong practice and with a yoga practice or a meditation energy practice in general, we're moving the energy through these meridians, through these channels. And we want to make sure, just like a garden hose, that the hose is not kinked, so the water, the energy can move freely through the system, circulating, cleaning, clearing, vitalizing, and so on. And water, obviously, we're a big bag of water, so moving the water is what that idea is on the physiological, cellular level, with a lot of the movement that we're doing, moving lymphatic fluid with shaking, whatever the practice is, the movement is the posture that I'll teach you as we go. A lot of those are to help move this energy, move this water, move the fluid through the meat sac. So that's just a basic rundown everything I can think of in the moment, where we're focusing on connecting the mind and the body through our movement and our breath, and stillness as well. Stillness being the space between the breaths and the space between the postures, the movements. So it's really this merging. Union, as yoga means, is to yoke, to bring together. This is a digression for the yoga focus, but yoke is what you would put around an ox to move a plow. The yoke is what keeps the 2 oxen moving evenly, so the plow goes straight. You've got 2 oxen, one on either side. They put on the yoke, the harness, and it's this T-shaped structure that keeps the plow moving forward. And that's the idea, is we want to unify the masculine and the feminine energy, action and non-action, movement and stillness, breath and retention. In all ways, we're balancing those energies and the expressions of those energies in our human experience. This is an opportunity where we can practice with attention and no distraction, that unifying, bringing together of all of the different expressions of the human experience, bringing our mind and our heart together to create coherence, as it would be called in the Heart Math Institute. And then coherence is a trigger to downregulate your nervous system, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, help you to develop parasympathetic tone, aka you're strengthening your Zen muscle, is the easy way that I look at it. A downregulation practice not only helps you ground down, become more stable and centered and composed in your human mental physical experience, but by practicing parasympathetic activities, downregulation activities, you're also strengthening that side of the nervous system and training it more so, conditioning your parasympathetic nervous system to maintain composure under duress. So even when the external circumstances are stressful in that sense, you can still find that union, that center, that composure within yourself by coming back to the breath, to the stillness, to the posture, to the movement. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? How am I doing it? Why am I doing it? Just being able to reflect on and witness the self in an environment, in the human body, not being the witness, the soul that you are. It's just the vehicle that you're observing in this moment. Wow, what an interesting situation, without becoming stressed. That's a skill that you develop through the training of parasympathetic tone, through conditioning and down regulation practices. So that's the idea here with this practice, is to come into a more meditative state, parasympathetic state, where you'll drop into a lucid alpha theta brainwave state, and you're able to connect to and observe more and reflect more on that introspective practice. But you're also helping ground the nervous system, move the energy, move the fluid through the body, and connect to yourself, to the present. One more thing about Qigong, as a way that I interpret it in my mind, the way that it makes sense to me, based off of a story, of course. The first time I practiced Qigong was with my Qigong teacher in 2018 on a beach in Canada at a retreat that we were co-facilitating. And I actually had gotten a DVD on Qigong maybe like a year prior, did like a couple of the lessons in it, but never took it seriously. But I practiced shaking and a couple other things we'll talk about, but it was very non-intentional or like non-super focused. It was just, I got a Qigong because of some recommendation from a doctor, Pedram Shojai, the Urban Monk, great book, but he talks about Qigong and he's got some instructional videos. And so I fucked around with a couple of them, and I noted when we were on the beach, fast forward back to Canada, that the energy coming through my system, seemingly coming down like a pillar of light, coming down into my crown and down through my spine and through my center column, my sushumna as it's called in yoga, the main energy channel. It was really overpowering, and I was starting to shake. I was having a kundalini awakening, some people would call it, or just an overload of energy, of electricity in my neural circuits. And I was starting to shake a little bit when we were holding a posture called Wu Ji, which I'll show you here. But it was just really interesting, because what I noted was, what I took away from that experience was how this practice could benefit me to create more resilience and stability in the holding of this light energy. And I started practicing yoga in 2013 and Qigong in 2018. So I was already practicing yoga for 5 years prior to my first real Qigong experience. And so I had an understanding, I've been practicing meditation for 5 years, and I had an understanding of how to move energy in my body and how to use the breath to intensify, direct that process, the breath being a really, really big part of an energy practice. And so I was, in yoga, the way I describe it, I was opening my channels to allow the light energy, the love energy, higher consciousness, all the words source, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it, God, to move through me, your creator, that energy of the divine essence of life force itself. I already had a connection to that and an understanding of how to bring it into my system and let it move through me in that energy practice sense. But when I was doing Qigong on the beach, it felt almost like the amperage was too high for the hardware. And I was gonna blow the fuse. I was gonna blow the light bulb, is what it felt like. I felt like I was, when you get the speed wobbles when you're going a little too fast, that's what it felt like, is I was just like, whoa, overloading. And the message that came through was, Qigong will help you create more grounded stability so you have a higher capacity and resilience to move this energy, to hold this energy, in the sense of creating a stronger light bulb to allow the light to shine brighter without blowing the fuse. That was the download that I got in the moment when I was practicing Qigong. I really felt, wow, this practice could benefit me in the ability to create a stronger grounded container to allow that higher consciousness to move through me at a higher capacity and with more ease and grace, better control. And so I started practicing, and my teacher, Anthony Monteith, is the one I'll refer to in this series, and everything that I've learned is based off of him and my own self-exploration in those foundations that I learned. So that's my download on using Qigong as a practice to build more resilience and capacity and grounded stability within your vessel so you can hold more light. And yoga and meditation, more so to me, are those practices to connect to and move through your body that light energy. Qigong as well, but that's just how I learned and what my direct experience is and was yoga really helped me open the channels to move the energy, and then Qigong is the practice I use to settle and ground that energy into my being and focus it with intention and direction and control, with the capacity to hold it safely. And so yoga and meditation and pranayama, breathwork, move the energy and intensify the energy, and Qigong grounds it and controls and directs it. That's my personal experience. So I think practicing them both is fantastic, and that's why I practice them and am teaching them to you guys.